The Earth We Share, a story about our changing world. Imagine waking up in the morning to the sound of birds singing outside your window. The sky is blue, the trees are green, and the air feels fresh and clean. This is the beauty of the Earth, our home. Everything we have comes from this planet. The food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe. It all comes from nature. The mountains, the forests, the oceans, the rivers, the animals. Everything is part of the same world. Our world. For thousands of years, humans have lived together with nature. We built villages, towns, and cities. We created farms, roads, and bridges. We invented machines to make life easier. Over time, our world changed, and now something very serious is happening to the Earth. People in every country are noticing that the weather is not the same as before. Summers are getting hotter, winters are shorter or warmer, storms are stronger. In some places, rivers dry up. In others, the sea rises and covers the land. Farmers worry because the rain does not come like it used to. Fishermen cannot catch as many fish because the oceans are changing. This is not just bad luck or a small problem. This is something much bigger. This is global warming. Global warming means that the temperature of the Earth is rising, but it does not mean just one hot day. It means the entire planet, the air, the oceans, the land, is getting warmer over many years. This is changing how the Earth works. It changes where rain falls, how plants grow, where animals can live, and even how safe our homes are. But why is this happening? Why is the planet getting warmer? The answer is both simple and complicated. It starts with how we live. For more than 200 years, humans have used energy from burning coal, oil, and gas. These are called fossil fuels. We use them to power our homes, our cars, our factories, our planes, and almost everything else. Burning these fuels releases gases into the air. One of these gases is called carbon dioxide, or CO2. Another is methane. These gases are invisible. We cannot see them or smell them, but they are very powerful. These gases trap heat from the sun. Normally, when sunlight comes to Earth, some of it warms the land, the air, and the oceans. Then some of the heat goes back into space. But with more CO2 and methane in the air, the heat cannot leave as easily. It gets trapped. It's like putting a heavy blanket over the planet. The more gas, the thicker the blanket, and the hotter it becomes underneath. This is called the greenhouse effect. A little greenhouse effect is good. Without it, the Earth would be too cold to live on. But now the greenhouse effect is getting stronger and stronger because there is too much gas in the air. A big reason for this is transportation. Think about how many cars, buses, trucks, airplanes, and ships are moving every day. All of them burn fuel. Every time someone drives a car that uses gasoline, it sends CO2 into the sky. Every time a plane flies across the ocean, it sends even more. Another reason is factories. Factories make everything: clothes, phones, toys, computers, food, and cars. But most factories burn coal, oil, or gas to work. The more we produce, the more gases go into the air. Cutting down forests also makes the problem worse. Forests are like the lungs of the planet. Trees take in CO2 and give back oxygen. When people cut down trees to make space for farms, cities, or roads, there are fewer trees to clean the air. This means more CO2 stays in the atmosphere. In the Amazon rainforest, huge areas are being cut every day. This not only harms the animals living there, but also speeds up global warming. There is also the problem of farming. You may not think about it, but farms, especially big farms with cows and sheep, produce a lot of methane. When cows digest their food, they release methane gas. This gas is even better at trapping heat than CO2. In New Zealand, for example, there are more cows than people, and the government is now trying to find ways to reduce methane from farms. Even the way we manage waste adds to the problem. Trash that goes to landfills breaks down and releases methane. Burning waste pollutes the air even more. All of this creates one big problem. The Earth is heating up faster than ever before in history. Scientists all over the world, from Europe to Africa, from Asia to America, are studying this and agree that humans are the main cause of this rapid warming, and the signs are everywhere. In Alaska, hunters who used to travel on frozen rivers in winter now find the ice too thin. They cannot go hunting like their parents did. In Italy, the famous glaciers in the Alps are melting. People who once skied there now see bare rocks where there used to be ice. In small Pacific islands like Tuvalu, families are watching the ocean rise higher every year. Some homes are already underwater. People fear that in the future, their entire island may disappear. In Siberia, the frozen ground, called permafrost, is melting. This releases even more methane gas. It also makes the land unstable. Roads crack, buildings fall, forests collapse because the ground is no longer solid. In Australia, the Great Barrier Reef is dying. The coral is turning white, a process called bleaching, because the ocean water is too hot. Coral reefs are home to thousands of species of fish and other animals. Without the coral, these creatures lose their homes. In Africa, the Sahara Desert is spreading. Villages that once had green farmland are now dry. Families move to cities because they cannot farm anymore. In Ethiopia, farmers like Abibi remember when the rains came every year. Now they come late, or sometimes not at all. His crops dry up before they can grow. Abebe says, "Our grandparents told us when to plant, but the seasons are broken now. In California, fires rage almost every summer. Towns are destroyed. People lose homes, schools, and memories." A girl named Sophia remembers how her family had to leave their house in the middle of the night when the fire came close. The sky was red. There was smoke everywhere. "We didn't know if we would have a home when we came back," she says. All of this sounds scary, and it is. But it is important to remember that we are not helpless. Around the world, people are working hard to fight global warming. Some are scientists inventing new technologies. Some are farmers finding better ways to grow food without hurting the environment. Some are children planting trees. Some are governments creating rules to protect nature. In Iceland, engineers are building machines that can pull CO2 out of the air and store it underground. In Denmark, huge wind turbines spin by the sea, creating clean energy for thousands of homes. In India, villages are installing solar panels, bringing electricity to places that never had it before without using fossil fuels. In Bhutan, a small country in the Himalayas, the government made a special promise. They decided to keep more than 70% of their land covered in forests. Bhutan is one of the only countries in the world that absorbs more CO2 than it produces. In Rwanda, women's groups plant trees and build small stoves that use less wood. This helps the forests grow back and gives families a cleaner way to cook. In Germany, cities are building more bike paths so that people can ride bikes instead of driving cars. Schools teach children how to recycle and care for the planet from a young age. These are stories of hope, real proof that change is possible. But change must happen fast and everywhere. The truth is simple. The Earth will continue to warm unless we change how we live, work, and move. This is not just a job for governments or scientists. It is a job for everyone, for you, for me, for all of us. Every small action matters. Turning off lights when not needed, walking or biking instead of driving, planting a tree, using less plastic, supporting clean energy, talking to others about why it matters. Because the earth we share is the only one we have. As the earth continues to warm, the effects of this change are becoming more and more visible, not only in one country or one place, but everywhere. From the cold Arctic to the hot deserts of Africa, from small islands in the ocean to big cities on every continent. Imagine a small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. People have lived there for hundreds of years. They build their homes near the beach. They fish in the clear blue water. They grow fruits and vegetables in their small gardens. Children run and play under the palm trees. But now something is different. The sea is rising. Every year the waves come closer. Sometimes during big storms, the water comes into the streets and homes. Salt from the ocean gets into the soil, making it hard to grow food. One man named Tama says, "The ocean used to be far from my home. Now it touches my front steps." His family has already moved their house once, but he fears that one day they may have to leave the island completely. This is not just one island's problem. It is happening in many places. In Miami, a big city in the United States, people are now used to seeing water in the streets, even when there is no rain. This is called sunny day flooding. The water comes from the sea pushed up by higher tides. Shops close. Cars cannot pass. People build walls and pumps, but they know that this is only a short-term solution. As sea levels rise, they are not just covering land. They are also pushing fresh water away. In Bangladesh, where millions of people live near rivers and the ocean, salty water is moving into the land. Farmers cannot grow rice like before because rice does not grow in salty soil. Families are moving to cities because their farms cannot feed them anymore. Cities become more crowded and life becomes harder. But the rising sea is only one part of the problem. In other places, the problem is not too much water, it is not enough. In parts of Africa, long dry periods called droughts are becoming more common. In Kenya, there is a woman named Nia who remembers when her village had green fields. Now the land is brown and dry. Her cows and goats have less grass to eat. Her children help her carry heavy buckets to get water from a well far away. Sometimes the well is empty. Nia says, "We wait for rain, but it does not come like before. The clouds pass, but the ground stays dry." Farmers everywhere are worried. In Italy, grape growers say the seasons have changed. The grapes ripen earlier because the summers are hotter. This changes the taste of the wine. In India, farmers who grow wheat and rice say that heavy rains come at the wrong time, washing away their crops. Or sometimes the rain does not come at all, leaving the fields dry and empty. And when the rain does come, sometimes it is too much. In Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands, strong floods hit towns and cities in 2021. Rivers grew too big. Water filled homes, streets, and shops. People had to run to higher ground. Some lost everything. Many said, "We have never seen water like this in our whole lives." Scientists later said these floods were made worse by global warming. Storms are getting stronger too. In the Philippines, typhoons, big tropical storms, used to come once or twice a year. Now they come more often and are more powerful. In 2013, Typhoon Haiyan destroyed thousands of homes. People who survived said the wind sounded like 100 trains coming together. The waves were taller than houses. After the storm, everything was gone. Homes, schools, hospitals. Many families had to start their lives from nothing again. Fires are another danger. In Australia, the summer of 2019 to 2020 brought fires bigger than anyone had ever seen. Millions of trees burned. Whole forests disappeared. People left their homes, driving through roads surrounded by flames. A firefighter named James said, "I have fought fires for 30 years, but I have never seen fire move this fast. Even animals could not escape. Koalas, kangaroos, and birds were injured or killed in huge numbers. The smoke traveled so far that even people in New Zealand, thousands of kilometers away, saw the sky turn gray. In California and Canada, wildfires happen every year now. Sometimes the fires start because of lightning, sometimes because of people, but dry weather and strong winds make the fires bigger and faster. Towns are destroyed. People lose their homes and must live in shelters for weeks or months. The ice at the top and bottom of the world is also melting. In the Arctic, temperatures are rising faster than in other places. The white ice that covers the ocean is getting smaller every year. Polar bears hunt seals on the ice. Without ice, it is harder for them to find food. Scientists have even seen hungry bears coming close to towns, looking for anything to eat. In Greenland, huge pieces of ice break off and fall into the sea, raising the water level all over the world. In Antarctica, the story is the same. Glaciers, big rivers of ice, are sliding into the ocean faster than ever. This also makes the sea rise, putting cities and islands in danger. The oceans themselves are changing. As they get warmer, fish move to cooler places. Coral reefs like the Great Barrier Reef in Australia are dying. Coral is not just beautiful. It is home to thousands of fish and sea animals. When coral dies, the whole underwater world suffers. A fisherman named Kai in Fiji says, "When I was a boy, the sea was full of fish. Now we must go farther out to catch anything." Global warming also affects our health. When the air gets hotter, it holds more pollution. This makes breathing hard for people, especially children and older people. In big cities like Delhi, Mexico City, and Beijing, some days are so polluted that schools close, and doctors tell people to stay indoors. Hot weather can also bring more diseases. Mosquitoes, which carry diseases like malaria and dengue fever, are moving into new areas because the warm weather lets them live there. Places that never had these diseases before are now starting to see them. Even our minds feel the stress. Imagine living with the fear that fire could come any day, or that the sea could take your home, or that you cannot grow food for your family. This kind of stress is becoming normal for many people around the world. But among all these problems, there are also stories of hope and courage. People are not just sitting and waiting. They are standing up and finding ways to fight back. In the Maldives, one of the lowest countries in the world, engineers are building floating cities, houses that can rise and fall with the sea. The president says, "If the sea rises, we will rise with it." In Japan, cities plant green roofs, gardens on top of buildings, to help cool the city and clean the air. In Africa, young people are starting projects to plant millions of trees. A boy named Samuel from Nigeria started a group with his friends to plant trees in his school and his neighborhood. He says, "Maybe I cannot stop climate change by myself, but if we all do a little, it becomes a lot." In the United States, farmers are changing how they grow food. Some are using new methods that help the soil hold more water and capture CO2 from the air. They say healthy soil means a healthy planet. In Europe, cities are making more space for bikes and buses, and less for cars. People are choosing electric cars that do not pollute. Schools teach children about climate change and how to take care of the environment from a young age. These stories show that humans are smart, creative, and strong. But the truth is clear: we must act quickly. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes. We share this planet. Every person, no matter where they live, no matter their age, their job, or their country, is part of this story. The Earth does not care about borders. The air moves across countries. The oceans connect us all. A fire in Australia, a flood in Germany, a drought in Ethiopia. These are not just local problems. They are signs that the Earth is calling for help. It is not too late, but we must listen, and we must act together. Even though the challenges of climate change are serious and often frightening, the story of our planet is not only about problems. It is also a story about courage, creativity, and hope. All over the world, people are not giving up. They are finding new ways to live, to work, and to protect the Earth, not just for themselves, but for everyone and for future generations. In Germany, a small village named Feldheim decided not to wait for big governments or companies to fix the problem. The people of the village worked together. They built wind turbines and solar panels to produce their own electricity. Today, every house and building in the village gets power from clean energy, the wind and the sun. They no longer use coal or gas. One resident said proudly, "We don't just talk about change, we live it." In India, a woman named Mara lives in a remote village where there was no electricity for many years. Her village built a small solar station. Now families can use lights at night, children can study after sunset, and phones can be charged. Mira smiles and says, "The sun is our friend. It gives us light, power, and hope." In Rwanda, people are learning how to build clean cook stoves. These stoves use less wood, which means fewer trees are cut. They also produce less smoke, which keeps the air cleaner inside homes. A woman named Amina says, "Before, cooking filled my house with smoke. Now my children can breathe clean air while I prepare food." Many cities are becoming greener. In Singapore, trees grow on top of skyscrapers. Gardens hang from balconies. Roads have special lanes just for bikes and buses. These changes make the city cooler, cleaner, and healthier. Even big companies, the ones that once polluted the most, are starting to change. Some car companies now build electric cars that don't need gasoline. Others are finding ways to make products that can be recycled again and again. Factories are using wind, water, and solar energy instead of coal. Around the world, schools are teaching children how to care for nature. Young people are leading the way. In Sweden, a girl named Greta started by sitting in front of her country's parliament every Friday, holding a sign that said, "School Strike for Climate." Soon, millions of young people around the world joined her, marching and speaking out, asking leaders to take action. In Africa, a young boy named Musa started planting trees after he saw his family's farm dry up. First, he planted 10 trees, then 50, then his friends joined. Now his town has planted more than 5,000 trees, bringing shade and fresh air back to their community. In Costa Rica, the government made a decision many years ago to protect nature. They stopped cutting trees and protected the forests. Now almost half of the country is covered in forests again. Tourists come from all over the world to see the wildlife: monkeys, colorful birds, and butterflies. The country also gets almost all of its electricity from clean sources like rivers and wind. But change is not only about big projects, It is also about small things that everyone can do in daily life. When we choose to walk, ride a bike, or take a bus instead of driving a car, we help. When we turn off lights we don't need, we help. When we use less plastic, recycle bottles and cans, or bring our own bag to the shop, we help. Planting a tree, saving water, eating less meat, buying local food, all these things make a difference. Every action is like a small stone thrown into a pond. It makes a circle. Then the circle grows bigger and bigger. When millions of people take small actions, the circles meet and create big waves of change. Governments also play an important role. Some countries are making laws to protect nature. They stop companies from polluting rivers. They create parks where animals are safe. They help people use clean energy. In 2015, countries from all around the world signed the Paris Agreement. This is a promise to work together to slow down global warming and protect the planet. But promises are not enough. We need action. And the good news is that action is already happening. In Denmark, huge wind farms in the sea produce clean energy for the whole country. In Morocco, a massive solar farm shines in the desert, giving power to thousands of homes. In the Netherlands, people are building floating farms that rise and fall with the sea. In Canada, forests are being protected and new trees are planted every year. In Japan, engineers are designing houses that use almost no energy. The windows and walls are made to keep heat inside in winter and stay cool in summer without air conditioners. This saves energy and money. In Kenya, women are leading projects to bring clean water to their villages. They dig wells powered by solar panels so that no one has to walk long distances to find water. In Chile, old buses were replaced with quiet, clean electric buses. The air in the city is fresher, and people enjoy quieter streets. Even in places where disasters happen, people rebuild smarter. After the big hurricanes in Puerto Rico, communities rebuilt homes with stronger roofs and solar panels, so they are ready for future storms. Scientists are also working hard. They are finding ways to store energy from the sun and wind for when there is no sunlight or wind. Others are inventing new ways to clean CO2 from the air and turn it into rock underground. Some are studying how to grow food that needs less water or can survive heat and floods. The world is full of smart ideas, but we need everyone, every country, every city, every family, and every person to be part of the solution. When we think about the future, it is easy to feel afraid, but we must also feel hopeful. Humans are strong. We have faced big problems before: wars, sickness, hunger, and we have found ways to survive and to make things better. The most important thing to remember is that the future is not written yet. It depends on what we do now. If we continue as before, the problems will grow. But if we change, if we work together, if we care for nature, if we help each other, the future can be bright. Imagine a world where cities are full of trees, where rivers are clean, where the sky is always blue, where children like Musa, Amina, Mira, and Sophia grow up in safe homes, where they can play outside without fear of fires, floods, or heat, where polar bears walk on strong ice, where coral reefs are full of colorful fish, where farmers have water for their crops, and where the air is clean for everyone to breathe. This is possible, but it starts with us, with the choices we make every day, with the way we treat each other, and the way we treat the earth. Because the earth is not just the place where we live. The earth is life. It is our home. It is the home of every bird, every tree, every fish, every child, and it is the only one we have. So let's take care of it. together.